The divorce was finally over. The ink was dry, the papers were filed, and for the first time in forever, Leilani could actually breathe. She spent a whole year just being still, focusing on her daughter, her peace, and doing that heavy healing work that nobody likes to talk about. She wasn't looking for a man to save her. She had already saved herself. But she's human. And eventually, she started wondering if there was actually a king out there who could match her energy. So she took a deep breath and hopped on a dating app. Let's call it The Vibe. At first, it was trash, straight garbage, just a bunch of dry-ass conversations, guys asking to link and smoke, and men who couldn't hold a conversation if their life depended on it. Leilani was over it. She was literally 1 second away from hitting delete and going back to her peaceful single life. She told herself, one more scroll, and then I'm out. And that's when she saw him. Josiah, 45 years old, fine as he wanted to be, and carrying himself with a different kind of weight. Now, he was up in North Carolina, and she was down in Atlanta, so there was some distance there. Normally, Leilani wasn't about the long-distance games, but something about his profile felt different. It felt like a maybe. She hit that match button, but she didn't sit there and wait for a text like some thirsty girl. She put the phone face down, walked away, and went to run a hot bubble bath. She was going to keep her peace regardless. If he was the one, the universe would make it move. She closed her eyes in the water, not knowing that 200 miles away, Josiah was looking at her picture and feeling that same spark.
45 years on this earth, 20 of them spent building this. People see the trucks and the money, but they don't see the nights I spent sleeping in the cab just to make sure my mama's mortgage was paid. My circle is small. My family is everything. If you're in my world, you're taken care of. But lately, the house feels a little too quiet when I lock up at night. I ain't looking for a situation. I'm looking for a partner. Someone who knows how to move when the lights are bright, but can hold it down when it's just us and the silence. I don't play games. I don't have the time. I spent my youth building an empire. Now, I'm looking for the woman I can share it with. He looks down at his phone. A notification pops up. New match, Leilani. He swipes through her photos. The beauty, the glow, the energy. Josiah smirks. Atlanta, huh? That's a 4-hour drive for a lesser man. But for me, that's just one long haul. He starts typing.
I told myself he wouldn't reply. At 36, you learn to protect your peace by expecting nothing. I'm a writer. I deal in facts, not fairy tales. And the fact was, a man like that usually wants someone younger, someone who hasn't figured it all out yet. But then I saw it. Your smile is beautiful. I zoomed in on his picture. I hadn't noticed them before, but there they were. Dimples so deep you could lose your breath in them. He looked like he knew a secret about joy that I was just starting to learn. My heart did this flutter, a feeling I haven't felt since I was a girl teaching my first piano lesson. Our kids? Boy, we haven't even had coffee yet. She giggled to herself. She remembered her prayers, her tears, her Bible verses. She remembered that she is to be a wife, a good wife. Plus, if their kids look anything like him, the world would have some problems on their hands. She smiled, let out a deep breath, and sent her number. No expectations, no extra noise, just hope. Hope that this time it will finally all work out. We skipped the small talk. The 11:22 signs didn't stop, and neither did the pull between us. But standing here, smoothed out and smelling like cocoa butter and nerves, I realized I wasn't just meeting a man from an app. I was meeting a mirror.
I've commanded fleets and stared down the law. I've survived the cells and the streets. But walking toward this woman, my knees felt like they belonged to a boy. I saw the empathy in her eyes before she even said hello. She looked at me like she already knew the parts of me I keep locked in the yard. I'm gonna be real with you, Leilani. I've lived a lot of life, some of it in places I never want to go back to. I've had women who wanted the boss, but never the man. You look at me like you see the man, and that scares the hell out of me.
I do see you, Josiah. I see the armor you've built. But I didn't come here for the armor. I came for the heart inside it. The question is, are you ready to take the vest off?
You asked if I'm ready to take the vest off. Truth is, Leilani, I don't know if I remember how. When you've spent years in a cell and more years on the shoulder of a dark highway, building a fleet, you learn that soft gets you killed. Or worse, it gets you taken advantage of.
There it was, the truth. Not the boss persona, but the man who was still protecting the boy he used to be. My heart didn't just flutter this time, it ached. I'm an empath. I don't just hear words, I feel the weight behind them. Looking him in the eye, Josiah, I'm not the streets, and I'm not your past. I'm a woman who sees a king who's been fighting a war that's already over. You won. You have the empire, but you're still standing guard at the gate. If you don't let me in, you're just a rich man in a very lonely castle.
I want to. God knows I want to. But what happens when the real me isn't enough for a woman like you? A writer, a teacher. You're light, Leilani. I'm a lot of shadows.
Reaching out, her fingers finally brushing his. Then let's stop talking about what might happen and start talking about what's happening right now. You're here. I'm here. And God hasn't stopped sending us the signs. I see you when I sleep. I hear your voice when you aren't around. My soul feels, I don't know, connected to you in a way I can't explain. I've been married before. I have had other relationships and encounters with men. None compare to this. She took a deep breath, holding in tears. Nothing compares to you, she said, barely above a whisper. At that moment, Leilani felt like she was a child again, begging for her parents to notice her, to see her. She started to question if this was real, or did they cross each other's path to shine light on the past trauma?
I had a choice. I could pay the check, walk back to my truck, and drive back to ATL where it was safe. Or I could stay in this light. At 45, I realized the biggest risk I ever took wasn't starting a business. It was leaning across this table. How do I tell her what's going on back at home? How would she react? I know I need to play this cool, but I think I'm falling in love. Fear crept in his throat. How can he tell her that he is scared of love? How can he tell her that he is afraid of what she can do to him?
He didn't pull away. For the first time in my life, 11/22 didn't feel like a sign for the future. It felt like a confirmation of the now. But shadows don't disappear overnight. And Josiah was still holding on to a secret that could change everything.